Welcome back after all this time to another edition of Scots and Socks. I am Scott. He is Scott. No, I did it wrong. Out of practice. Look at that. Yeah, no. Yeah, out of practice. That's Scott there. Yeah. Welcome back to another edition of Scots and Socks. We've been away for a while, actually. Both Scott and I have taken a bit of a leave of absence, but we wanted to get back into this, and happy to be back talking about all things empathy. Scotty, how you been?
Yeah, good, Scotty. Isn't it interesting? We're here to talk about an empathy series, and yeah, we're both taking an extended hiatus in order to look after ourselves a bit, to step back a bit and just reflect and work on the things that are important. I do got to say, Scotty, you're looking bloody good, mate. It's good to see you looking so bloody good.
Now, I'd like to thank my plastic surgeon, Dr. Elon. Thanks, mate. Been doing a bit of work on thyself, so all is heading in the right direction in that regard. So pretty happy, pretty pumped, and looking forward to ripping into this as well. You know, I've had a lot of thoughts about this, and we've had a few discussions on the break as well about the things we want to do. And I know you've got a lot to achieve in the business of smiles this year. I'm doing an awful lot with the Art of More and Education series running on, or facilitation series, I might call it, called the Let's Grow Show, which is on audio on LinkedIn. In fact, tomorrow, 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, I keep saying Daylight Standard Time, is another edition of the Let's Grow Show. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what Scots and Socks have got on the mind. And, you know, the only thing about our break that I regret, Scotty, is I realised the other day that we missed celebrating Jackie Robinson Day on April 14th, which was, yeah, a bit of a sad thing. For those of you who don't know, Jackie Robinson is a famous baseball player, and his number was retired across the entire league. It was 1987, 1997, something like that. They retired his number forever for all teams in major leagues. And I even get angry when I see someone in Australia wearing 42. I even get angry when I see that. But and we could go into a conspiracy discussion about whether 42 from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is related to Jackie Robinson or not. But anyway, that for another day.
Yeah, it is for another day. I just want to put something quickly. Just want to say hi to Alexandria. That Scott's tweet, I like that. I'll take that.
Yeah, we are squared. Yeah,
could be a dangerous thing, I think. So
we've been talking to while she's doing some.
But talking about baseball, I think that's something that I'm so grateful you brought me back into over the summer. You know, you brought me back into your team with a bunch of guys that really did show great empathy in supporting one another, you know, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of a team that, you know, really helped me with my smile. Like you were there. What's it like with me walking back out on the diamond for the first time? The energy, the joy, right? It's just wonderful.
It's Masters baseball, and they don't drug test anyone really, but it's yeah, Scotty brings a vibe and an energy to the team that everyone's enjoying, and not only that, he brings some nasty pitching too, which is great to have on board for Sandringham. Bit of a plug to the Royals out there, but yeah, I really enjoyed last season. I really did. I thought what a great bunch of guys, and everyone got around each other, and that's what it's about, really. You know, that's what it's about.
I'm going to grab that, right? Because we weren't going to head down this direction, but I really want to grab it right now because, you know, it's pretty topical at the minute. How many great guys are there in our lives and communities? How many good men do we have in our life?
Yeah.
You know, lately we've really been challenged. It's been the quite a profound push toward understanding of domestic violence and the way men are involved in that. And, you know, it is devastating, but I wish we would project the real numbers in that. And I wish we would focus on the good men in society and give us some targets to actually achieve rather than tell us what we're doing really bad. Because I see so many good men consistently stepping up, having a crack and doing better. I'm really proud to be a man. I'm really proud to be part of, you know, Sandringham Baseball Club. I'm proud to be a part of Smiles for Life. I'm proud to be a dad. I'm proud to be a good man in our community. And I'm To every man out there, thank you for doing your best right now. Thank you for having a crack at doing better, because you know you've got it in you. You're stepping up in ways that we've been asked to do, and I really think we're doing a great job. So thank you, guys. Sorry, Scotty. We'll look at that next week.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting topic. I think, all I want to say is to catch more bees with honey. And at the end of the day, if we want men to be a part of the solution, we need to acknowledge those men that are doing the right thing. We need to give them license to engage with other men about how it is to do the right thing, and to hold each other to account without judgment. I think if men can formulate an environment where that's possible, and certainly, Scott, a lot of the things I'm really encouraged by the work and the dinners that you do is that you're encouraging men to come and share authentically about their story, and for other men to hold space for that. And I think, some of you might have heard me talk before, but, one of the things that startled me when I interviewed 100 guys in 100 days back in 2022 was how many of them, nearly half, I think, or just over half, asked me if I was up for another chat. And so my takeaway from that was how many of them just felt that they were listened to and just enjoyed the experience of that. So Scott's creating some amazing environments and dinners for men to get together and experience that. Big shout out to Matty too from Common Sense Events. I think Matt is doing an amazing job along the same lines. And I was at a dinner, a Common Sense dinner last week, and again, guys were there talking about their truth to other men, not talking about their work. In fact, that's banned at those dinners. And just a really interesting experience for guys just to sit and share their experience in life and take accountability for their role in it too. I think that's been a big thing for me over the last sort of 2 years or so, is to take accountability and stock for some of the things that I'm not really happy with in my life. And that certainly helps, but it would help more if I was able to share with other men what that feels like, not what I think about it, but what it feels like.
Yeah, I was just smiling and thinking about that a lot, Scotty, right? Because so much of our life and the complications inside men's health is we are in our heads. We're in here and we can't change the dialogue. But when we go into our heart and we try to understand the feeling and match that with the thinking, we generally get a better understanding of how it impacts us. Our stories, you either own it or it owns you. There's no other way around. Right? So what are the stories we tell ourselves? What's the truth that we're projecting? What are we sharing with others, and how are we working through that? And massive kudos to Matty for what he does with the Common Sense Events, because it's like an honesty pill, like where you can just be free and honest with what is actually going on in life, which Smiles for Life, same sort of thing. I get a good feeling that I'm standing tall with other men. I learn from other people's experiences, and one of the things that I really enjoy, Scotty, is that when you're sitting there listening to somebody and they're sharing it, watching their face, you're watching the way they hold themselves. It's all the micro little signs that we're learning and picking up on, so that when we have situations in our lives, we can sort of associate with the tonalities, we can associate with our physical presence, how we're feeling, are we scrunched, are we standing tall, all these little things that subconsciously being activated, that we understand when someone's sharing an experience. The more experiences that we are sharing and get involved in, the stronger we are as humans. I really encourage people to get along to events like that. Just listen. You don't have to talk. I think that's one of the misguided opportunities, if you like. When these events are on, you don't have to talk. One of the most powerful things is to sit and listen and hear other people's stories. I think that takes great courage. Not making it about you is extraordinary.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that you've taught me with the SOC program, Scotty, is, the opportunity to acknowledge somebody and sit and hold space for them and their story, their life. yeah, it's huge, and it's been a gift for me to experience that. And whilst it's a gift for the recipient, it's a massive thing to be able to do. And it's not just a feel-good factor. I think you learn something about yourself and reflect on why is it that we don't do more of it? You know, why is it that we don't acknowledge people more? Why is it that, you know, we had a very well-credentialed cricket player join our baseball club this year, and he was just a great asset. But the thing about him was both his humility and his ability to get around and support each other, or support teammates, which was just brilliant. I mean, you know, we've had ex-professional sportsmen join our team before, of old blokes, if you like. But yeah, he brought that vibe where he was just really grounded and, you know, prepared to give kudos to other team members and was there for them. And I think he really enjoyed that himself. So
I look, and not only that, I loved engaging, and we engaged around kids. We engaged around how we role model ourselves to our kids. We engaged around parenting. How can we get the most out of our kids? Like, it's not actually getting the most out of them, it's giving them the best opportunities in life. How do we support them as men? Presence was what we came up with, you know, being present, having the opportunity to listen, understand, and not necessarily tell kids what to do, rather put them in front of the best people so they get the best opportunities to do that. And like, he gifted me one of the most amazing opportunities to, you know, to sit with a mindset coach for Oscar, which is just, you know, like, Oscar and I have a rather unique relationship, which probably a good segue to sort of head into in a minute. But it is, I'll stumble through this, but I really am grateful for the people that are around Oscar. An amazing kid. At 13, he's just been gifted the opportunity to go to Texas to play tennis in a selected squad of 12, which is awesome. But the kid himself is, you know, his mindset is extraordinary. But I'm going to, rather than me depict what that relationship is like, I'm just going to ask you to share that relationship, because you've seen it firsthand, you understand it quite well.
I think what you've enabled Oscar to do, and, you know, Oscar's 2 years younger than Maddie, something like that. I think he feels really free to express how he feels and question things. And certainly one of the things we cover in the Let's Grow show is our ability to question things. And I think you've nailed that with Oscar. He's not afraid to discuss things, not afraid to question people. And the way he relates to adults is super commendable, both from a being respectful point of view, but also being inquisitive about things with adults. He's not frightened to do that. And yeah, I mean, I've had some amazing conversations with him, and given his age, it's pretty, what is he, 14 yet? No, 13, 14?
No, just turned 13.
Sorry, he's 13, but he's 6'5", so I'm intimidated. So I'd like to think he was 30, but anyway, he's not. Yeah, I think, you know, I feel like he and I have a pretty mature relationship. I feel like when things have gone, you know, not gone that well for me in life, that, you know, Oscar's been there to listen to me, or actually to ask me. He's asked me, you know, how I'm doing and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty exceptional for a 13-year-old kid. That is something else. And what's really cool, and a little announcement, I suppose, is that very soon, and I don't know when because it's Scott's decision, but Cats in the Cradle is a podcast series that Scott and Oscar have put together, a father and son duo. Those of you who have bothered to link in live to this, or moreover watch it later, I'm finding that a lot with this show. Maybe it would help us if you made comments on the channel that you watched it. But, you know, when you do a live, you get a few people that can rock up and make it at the time, but you get a whole lot more people watching it after the time. And I find it baffling, guys, that, you know, so many people have come up to me and gone, "I like Scots and Socks." I'm like, "Oh, you didn't comment on that. I didn't even know you watched." So, yeah, if you could just give us a shout out, it'll help us to understand who's listening and what you found good about what we're talking about, and what you found bad if you didn't particularly like it. But I'm just is that link okay there, Scotty? I could share that on screen, or
Perfect. It's all happening. The comments, I like it. So, ooh. But I do want to link this back, because the empathy series, Scots and Socks, this is empathetic parenting is just as important as any other part of life, right?
Mhm.
How do we do that? How do we engage in that? How do we bring that to the table? Like, I'm going to share a story in a minute. It literally happened last night that I think is a super important discussion. But one of the things that I've done with Oscar is, with every single time I've had the opportunity to have a business meeting, and I get the opportunity to take Oscar with me, I will take him with me. The very first time Scotty met Oscar was literally the first time Scott and I met, was actually in his office. And here I am with two other people having a meeting about mental health and well-being. And this young 11-year-old kid, and he sat at the table. What was that like, Scotty?
Again, he was taller than me, so that wasn't pleasant. But no, it was good. And I think one of the interesting things is that Oscar took a great interest in what my business does around complex analytics and strategy and stuff like that. He was really interested and make some comment to you, Scott, about, I want to do what Scott does for a living when I get older, which was, kind of cute. And but also good, in the sense that he means it. And, I've offered Scotty to take him up on that and show him some stuff that we do with data and visualization and how analytics work and things like that. So I'm sure we'll get to that when he stops playing tennis in the US, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I think, but also, again, that was my first experience of having him chime in. And all jokes aside, because he's actually quite a large 13-year-old, I didn't realize he was 11 at the time, to be honest. I thought he was a teenager. And so I'm even more shocked now to realize, the maturity that he brought to that conversation at 11 was pretty cool. But, I think we can often, I think we have to, my lesson over the last 2 years particularly is to hear our children regardless of the origin of their feelings. I know I've been separated from my daughter's mother for 10 years, and there are times when I have not heeded my daughter's requests because I didn't think they were naturally from her. And on reflection, it doesn't matter where they came from or originated from. It's actually, they were her feelings. And, to an extent, I let my kid down on that one, but thankfully I've grabbed that lesson and we'll do it differently going forward. But yeah, I think that's really important too. I think a lot of kids can come with a lot of influences, whether that's their peers or school or sports and whatever, and come and bring an opinion to us, and we can shut them down thinking about the influence first and not how the child feels about the conflict between what they're expecting based on what they've heard and what they're experiencing based on, your relationship with them. So just wanted to throw that in there before you went on to last night's story, because this is really fascinating, guys. I was speaking to Scotty this morning, and I know this story well. And Lexi, it's really good that you're on the line, actually, because this is pretty profound, and it's I'll let Scotty kick in, and then maybe I can follow up with some things I know about this particular space. Go for it, man.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, Scotty, because one of the things for me that's been the most important part of my relationship with Oscar is that he is free and open to express himself at any point, and I don't put my feelings, emotions, or opinion on top of it until I get a deeper understanding of what it is he's trying to express, giving him the opportunity to be heard. That has been the journey for a very long time, and it is created some of the deepest conversations I've ever had, and it's been with a child who's basically taught me a lot about life just by being present. Mm-hmm. Last night, that actually came to fruition, And it's all the seeds I've been planting over the years that allowed for this particular conversation to be had. Last night, just before bed, Oscar comes after me panicking. He goes, Dad, I need to have a conversation. I'm not sure if you're going to be upset with me, but I really need to have a conversation about this because I'm scared.
Yep.
No worries at all. You know, I'm here. We're going to listen. Share with me what's going on. He goes, well, actually, I've been getting messages on my phone from a number threatening me. And what they've done is they've actually put up made a Canva print with photos of me and a dick pic, and they're wanting money from me, and they're wanting to expose me for this. I've gone, wow, that's really heavy, bro. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'm really worried because of my digital imprint. We're learning at school that this could affect me forever. I don't exactly know what to do here. Can you please help me? I'm like, okay, can we go through the whole conversation? Can we go through from start to finish? So I went through the conversation. Oscar tried to engage with them. He actually said to them, you know, like, realistically, I'm actually suicidal at this point. You're pushing me to a point of absolute fear. I don't know if I want to be here. Now, Oscar being Oscar, he's fairly intelligent, was looking for an avenue to get rid of them. But they were hammering him hard. He came to me. I looked at it all, read through it. Then I messaged the guy and said, hey, this is actually Oscar's father. This needs to stop right now. Here's the thing. Bad situation. I'm lucky I've got Oscar. I'm lucky I've got Oscar who understands that this situation, no matter how much trouble he's in, he can come to me and have a conversation about it. And I'm not going to project my fear. I'm just going to sit and listen and understand. And in an emotional situation, I do not get angry. I do not. When it's a very serious thing, I sit very calmly and we work through it and we get the detail. We go through it. And the fact of the matter is, he just put up an Instagram account. He set up his own Instagram account. He's gone through it. He put his phone number on his Instagram account. Because he set up the Instagram account and they had the phone number and they had photos of him, they were using that against him to try and extort money out of him. Mm-hmm. This stuff goes on all of the time.
Crazy.
Kids are dealing with it. My objective with Oscar has always been to have open lines of communication so that when these scenarios happen, we can do what we did last night. Mm-hmm. We spoke about this for an hour and a half last night, about how he felt, what the impact was. We got him to understand what happens with social media. He goes, Dad, I didn't expect them to be bad. I just think everybody's good. I said, yeah, look, it'd be lovely if that was the world we lived in, but it's not.
No.
Now we need to learn. It happened. We can't change that. But what we can do is take this scenario and learn how to do things better. We can have better conversations and improve what we're doing. Yes, Dad, I just want to get off all social media. I said, look, I can understand why. I said, but you've got things you want to do. You've got things you want to grow through. I think it's more important that we take the lessons from this, we share the lessons, help other people understand that they too can have the conversation, because I'm really proud of you for doing what you've done today. I'm really proud that you came to me in a moment of fear and we had a bigger discussion and you didn't hold on to that. It goes on everywhere, Scotty, as you well truly know.
I was at a conference last year hearing about the ridiculous rapid rate with which this crime is increasing. Vast majority of victims are boys between the ages of 12 and 15. They are targeted by men who often pose as teenage girls. They're getting access through games predominantly, some socials like Snap, Insta, etc. But they're getting access through Fortnite, Minecraft, these kinds of games as well. And any others that my non-contemporary mind doesn't take me to. And there was a horrible case study that was shared last year at a conference I was at of a 12-and-a-half-year-old Dutch boy who had commenced a conversation at, I think it was around 9:30 p.m. on Fortnite, and that conversation transferred over to another channel. invariably the young boy thought he was talking to a 15-year-old girl, was coached to send a photo of himself, was extorted with that photo, etc. To pay, if I recall correctly, it was $300 US. Apparently the kid made that transaction, and then was further extorted for another $500 US, and by past midnight that child had taken his life. And it's rife, sextortion, and if you've got young boys, they need to know what's happening. Who is the 15-year-old girl? They are largely networks of males that originate from Africa, and Nigeria, I believe, is one of the homes of this activity. So awareness is key, and my kids' school did an amazing thing on online safety last year, which was really good. But some of the things I don't talk about are some of this more the gruesome realities of what happens out there with people who are trying to get access to kids and extort them for coin. So it's happening everywhere, and so I think just applaud both of you, Scott and Oski, because you'll listen to this probably. I hope you. If you're not a fan anymore, man, I'll come after you. But I was recognised at a petrol station last year. You're the other Scott, yeah. Well, whereas I see it the other way around. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I do want to just shift gears a little bit, Scotty, and talk about the what's ahead for both of us.
I was going to jump on that. Before we do, I just want to close this out. Just on this, because here I am, that I think I've got an amazing relationship with my son. I know I have. And it can still happen.
Sure.
That could have gone either way had he have held on to that through true fear.
Absolutely.
Now, for me to have that conversation, for him to have the courage to come up to me and do that, I've had to have him around other men sharing their stories so that he knows that there's stuff that happens in life that is really difficult. But if he shares and he works through it and he finds the avenues to go forward, he will. I am so lucky I planted those seeds. I planted those seeds from when he was a young kid. I wish for all men to be able to have that open dialogue with their kids, because you never know when it's going to make a difference. And it did to us last night.
Yeah, totally agree. And, I think that's really important. And, it's a wild experience having a teenager. I was a single father when my child, turned over from, 11 through 12 and 13. And what a cataclysmic change it was from daddy, can I jump on your shoulders, to daddy, can you get out of my room and on Snapchat? And it's a tough adjustment for parents, but then we have to realize that the world they're walking into and the realities of today's world are vastly different than what we know, including but not limited to the fact that, boys as young as 9 now are exposed to pornography. So they're not even in high school when this happens. That's a vastly different experience than any of us have had. And, access to social media where chat is now second nature on most platforms, gaming platforms, all that sort of thing. There's more and more avenues for communication, and more avenues for nefarious activity, I suppose. So for us parents, it's these are things we need to discuss with our kids, and I'm sure there's not enough of it. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm assuming. I certainly have shared this with my daughter, but I've unsuccessfully influenced my ex to take some positive steps in keeping her safer. But a lot of people out there think it won't happen to their kids. But if your kid's on a device for numerous hours a day, you can be sure that they're exposed to the same probability.
I never thought it'd happen to us, Scotty.
Of course you don't.
I never, and the very harsh reality of it hit home real quick last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if your kid's online and they're interacting with people, and my rule with Madison has always been, if you don't know them, I don't want you talking to them. And it's fine for me to say, will she adhere to it? I don't know. I mean, someone could have a good reason to speak to her that entices her to have a conversation. I don't
Well, that was the thing for Oscar last night. He goes, Dad, listen, when they reached out and connected, I was just trying to be friendly. You make friends everywhere you go. I thought, it's nice to make some more friends. Sometimes I'm lonely. I'm here. I'm an only child. You're not always with me. And I'm like, but I think it's a great lesson. It's a great lesson early. And if we take it as a lesson and we don't create the fear around the conversation, I think that is the most important thing we can do with any of these difficult conversations, is make sure there's no fear in the conversation. When Cats in the Cradle, literally the timing of what happened last night and the launch of the Cats in the Cradle couldn't be at any better time. You'll see myself and my 12-year-old son having conversations that most men don't have. And it's because we're open in dialogue. There's no pressure. I ask more questions. We stay curious in the moment. And he's one of the biggest things as a parent, if I could suggest something, was the very real realization that I don't know anything. I learned that very early, and I learned how smart these kids are. And the only way in which I'm going to be able to build a successful relationship is to be able to listen and learn from him. Oscar has 100% the opportunity to challenge me in any of my actions, to ask if I can do better, because he can hold me accountable. I can't ask him to be accountable if he can't hold me accountable. And as much as I've had to swallow my pride many times on things he's educated me on, last night it paid off in a moment in time where it could have been a very different situation.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone. Well, that's coming out very soon in next week show. We only can maintain this time too. Scott and I have played with different times of day and days of the week, but we figure Monday's a great time to have lunch with everybody, and wish you well through the week and get you kick started with a bit of optimism. Let's hope. Let me just do something. Share. Let's see if this works, Scotty. I want to see if this works.
I'm always up for trying something new.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I might actually prove to you why not in a minute, but I may well give you every reason to never do this ever.
I don't think so.
Let's have a look. But if I can find it, which I don't seem to be able to.
While you're working through that, I want to share a little bit of what's coming up this year.
Cool.
We started the year off nice and slowly. The reality is I was pretty much burnt out from taking on way too much, and had some big scenarios finish up there towards the end of the year. Try to get going, and I really needed the space and the time to be able to create the things that we've got coming forward, and they are magical. Smiles for Life is a fantastic opportunity. I've been running it in Frankston now for 18 months with great success. Actually, I was cook last month for this month, and I had 2 guys step up and run the night from within the program. Guys just supporting guys to have the conversations we need to have, looking for any way in which to strengthen one another. It was such a privilege. I'm looking forward to next month in Frankston, which is the second Thursday of the month, to be a participant in the program, because it's amazing. We've started up a new venue in Camberwell, which is Overture, which is going to be the second Tuesday of the month. We're going to run those. Fantastic. The first one was brilliant. 34 men coming together to just be in a room full of other men as we work through what it means to be a man these days, but more importantly, opening up our hearts to just be present with one another. And I think that's probably the most powerful thing I can really bring forward, is presence. Just the fact that we stand together is just phenomenal. Yeah. We're also looking at doing a lot more community walks with the socks. One of the things that I innately do just because I do it, and I didn't realise the power of it until I took out the amazing Pat Henderson, CEO and director of SureFat Group, who had the Sure Smiles month through the month of February, where every single job that came through the door, they donated $20 and bought a pair of socks for us to gift out. Pat's a rather big man with a lot of presence, 6'5", and to take him out on the streets he learned so much about how he projected himself onto other people and how to get better connection. It's one of the most powerful self-development opportunities. You'll learn more about yourself in 4 hours, just in the way in which you project and how you turn up in the world. Which, if you can understand that, you can put micro changes in to enable you to connect better, to communicate better. And it's such a wonderful opportunity. So there's that, and then there's presentations. I want to talk more. I want to share what connection can do. I want to share what presence brings. I want to share the opportunity of, we all have dark days. Yeah, a smile emerging from the darkness. How do we create that inner smile? What is it that allows you to create the inner smile so you can project that rather than project the pain that sits inside us? Fantastic opportunity there, Scotty.
Yeah, absolutely. And just want to plug this because it's kind of hot off the press, but just to show everybody, nearly, that here is the cover for the first episode of Cats in the Cradle. So episode 1. So that is hitting YouTube as we speak, as fast as we can upload it. And that will be on various channels in the weeks to come. So we'll keep you posted on that. Now I'm going to figure out how to stop the share. Stop share button. It's so cool. Yeah, and look, from my perspective, I've been really encouraged. I've been working really hard at the Let's Grow show, which is happening twice a week at the moment. And I've got some great guests coming on. Next week, I've got Anna Thelman, who's an intimacy coach, and super interesting because I wrote some content about growth and about, not growth strategy per se, but about, growth and curiosity and things like that. And she's like, oh my God, that's like exactly what I teach people about relationships. So I'm like, come on down, Anna. So she's coming down next week, which is really cool. And the reason why I say that is that for decades that I've been working in this space, I've wanted people to connect the humanness of us in their strategic work in their business. Too often we see markets or employees as something other than human, and I don't know why, and it always bothers the shit out of me. We need to see people like that. And what's really cool is that a lot of our conversations are now morphing into the personal space. And I'm really encouraged by that. I think people are starting to think about the issue of growth, of change, of transformation really differently, but also starting to lean in with that curiosity and empathy that's required to drive growth in a business. So, or the growth in your impact. In a few weeks' time, in mid-June, I've got the general manager for Food Bank coming on, and we're going to talk about growth, but that's from an impact perspective. So, how do we feed more vulnerable Australians in her case, and or in their case, and looking forward to those chats too. So super happy with that. The Let's Grow show, get on it, and we got workshops coming up. Our first one is Thursday, and then we've got ensuing workshops and masterclasses and accelerator groups. So that's been flat out. And Scott and I actually only saw each other in person for the first time yesterday since Christmas. There you go. We live about 30 minutes away from each other. So.
Oh no, we caught up with baseball.
Oh yes, my bad. Not since Christmas. At baseball, March. It must have been for me. Anyway, I don't have much more to say other than hey, stay in touch. Let us know what you want to do. We've got a number of things that we want to talk about. We did discuss things like homelessness and approachability of social services, speaking out, our role that we can play and acknowledge people. We covered a lot of topics in the last time we popped our heads up. Those topics aren't going away, and there's many more to discuss. And I'd love to talk more in the coming episodes about what a community walk looks like. We did a really good one just before Christmas with Courtney and his team, Courtney Smith and his team.
Connection.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really cool. So literally, guys, it's walking the streets, handing out these bad boys and acknowledging people for doing their best. And I joined Scotty for that, and we took Courtney's team around the streets and and gifted people socks and had those conversations and had that listening and presence gifted to them as well. And that was a great experience for Courtney's team. And we learn a lot too in terms of the impact on others and what that means for leadership and empathetic leadership particularly. So we'll talk some more about that in the coming weeks. I don't think I got much else to share really, other than, hey, I'm feeling pretty happy and life's going really good. I am super digging AI generated imagery for for a lot of my stuff at the moment. It's just the best time I've ever seen. I'm very particular about what I want to see in an image to depict a theme or a message. And I can be particular without going crazy trying to find something now. So that's a real gift. So I don't want to throw another AI thing into the mix. I think we hear about it every other second at the moment. But let's go back and talk about crypto so people can phase out. So anyway, that's enough for me.
I just want to grab something, Scotty. I want to grab something, Scotty, because I think we're in the very real world of AI these days. What's real? You know, like who knows if what was talking to Oscar could have even been a bot? Who knows, right? The reality is it could well be. Human connection is more important than ever. Absolutely. Understanding facial expressions and understanding what's real, what's tangible is so important right now. The leading way to get that is through empathetic conversations to get a better understanding. I encourage everybody to think about that for at least a week. Come back next week and come and have a conversation.
We need to think about the necessary, elements of being human and what is irreplaceable about that. And, unless you guys think otherwise, when we think about relating and connecting to people, which is it's increasingly important. And it's not just because of AI, it's because of societal shifts and people living alone and all those sorts of things. I mean, if we think for a moment that we're going to be able to put an AI plug-in into our Tinder and have it swipe right for us, then we're completely deluded. So anyway, that's enough from me. But yes, let's stay connected and keep the conversation alive. Cheers.
Take care.
Bye, guys.